am I am so excited to be here today. I really am. I am so excited to film this video. I have been sick since right before the new year. So your girl has been down for about 2 weeks. I mean, really ill. And we're not sure if it was COVID or what. I tested negative a couple of times, but it seems like I had all the symptoms. Very short of breath. It was bad. So I'm on the mend, but I'm so glad to be here today because this is one of my favorite videos to film. And also just let me know what you think of the color. You guys usually do. Let me know down below what you think of the lighting. I did have to warm it up because I'm light, but I was looking way too light. So as you can see, I know it still looks a little light in here, but just let me know so I know what I'm kind of working with. I don't think everything else is looking too yellow. I think everything else is staying is true to color. But you guys will definitely let me know down below. Just let me know. It's a work in progress. My complexion, I have a lot of yellow in my complexion. And then when I wear certain tops and versus when I pull out the palette, it always just kind of throws the white balance off. But just know that I'm always working on it. So just let me know down below what you think. Hope it's not yellow. Hope it's not pink. I hope it's just right on point. Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome on back to my channel. I am so glad to be here like I just mentioned before. And we're getting started with my video, my favorite video to film, one of the favorite videos to film, which is how many. So basically it would be how many in 2021 this time. So this is my third time doing this video. So I'll link the other two up here, down there in the card so you can see. So basically this is me going through each and every palette that I have tried in 2021. Oh, but let me introduce myself real quick. If you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you're an oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley. I have a doctorate in pharmacy. I love makeup. That's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. Eyeshadow really is my jam and one of my favorite things to talk about, but please just call me Ash or Ashley. And you see, I'm rusty filming. I forgot to introduce myself. But like I said, we are going through every single palette that I have tried in the year of 2021. And I'm going to let you know what I buy it again or what I've not bought it again, basically. So this is not a review. I'm just kind of going through each and every palette. We're going to see what I have accumulated through the year. And it's kind of like, you know, an eye-opener to me when I pull all this stuff out. So I don't have these in any particular order, but I did organize them according to brand just to make it a lot easier. And let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to jump in with basically like the largest offender around here. The largest offender. Boom. Do you see this? Yes. And we are talking about the Glam Shop, okay? So let's just go ahead and jump in with the palette that I actually have on right now, which would be, I do not know how to pronounce it, but it would be this one right here, this beautiful thing. And this is a purple palette. It is so gorgeous. And I have that shade in the middle, which is a nice holographic shade on my lid. And it is just, it's so pretty. But I would absolutely purchase this palette again. Next up, I have the Nude palette by Glam Shop. And this one is actually an all shimmer palette. Looks like this. I would absolutely purchase this again. I think it's so beautiful and I love how it's just all shimmers, but it's like nude colors. So you get a lot of different varieties and pair it with some mattes, you're like good to go. Then I have a palette that is super special and unfortunately they have not brought it back. And this is the Turbina palette. I would definitely purchase this particular palette again. This one is actually another all shimmer palette. So beautiful. You get some duochromes, like look at the one in the middle, that green shade, which is actually the namesake, Turbina, and you have Luna. So all three of these, well, okay, not all of these palettes. The first palette I do not have a look on, but actually I did film this look and you'll catch it in my palette rotation. And then next up I have one of their spring launches called the Tropicana Palette. So I have so many palettes by them because this is the year that I actually found the glam shop. And so they had all of these palettes and I was just like, yes, give it to me. I want it. So unfortunately, this particular palette, I would not purchase again. I am not that crazy about it. It looks really fun and colorful, but these particular shimmers, they didn't really do it for me. So unfortunately, I would not buy this particular palette again. Next up, we have this one. I do not know how to pronounce the name. Very sorry. But this one is a beautiful palette, but I really like it, but I don't, no. I would not purchase this one again, unfortunately. And this is from the Spring Floral collection. Now, this one I do feel differently about, and you could probably say that because, you know, it's green, and I love my green shadows. This is like a very nice minty light green with some blues, and this one I would absolutely purchase again. It is simply stunning, and that middle shade, oh my gosh. And even like this mustardy shade shows up so well. I would definitely purchase this one again. You get blues, you get greens, you get mustardies. It's really a nice vibe. So I really enjoy this palette. All right, next up, I have a palette I would definitely purchase again, and this is the Camo Glam. This is easily one of my favorite palettes of the year. It is super beautiful, really grungy greens, and I would definitely purchase this palette again. You also get the fun marble shades, and look at that duochrome here at the top. I would definitely purchase this particular palette again. Next up, we have the Xenon Palette. I would definitely purchase this palette again. You know, we had a little casualty with this palette. If you saw my video on how many brands or the brands that I've tried in 2021, they lost the middle shade. She just fell right on out, but the palette was actually on sale at the glam shop. So I ordered another one, and they had a couple other shades. So I was just like, girl, let me just go and get me another Xenon palette. And then we have Paprika, and I would definitely purchase this again. I have never used this on camera, but I have used this a few times in my personal life, and it is just really beautiful. Like, you talking about a fiery red palette that does not disappoint with some gorgeous shimmers. I would absolutely purchase this palette again. Another palette that I would purchase would be the Laguna palette. This one is super special too. And this one is really just beautiful. Oh my gosh, like look at the middle shade, and you can see the duochrome, all the gold reflex. You have really beautiful shadows. So that's what I really appreciate about the Glam Shop, because if you're not into singles, like their curated palettes are wonderful as well. And you know, you can try out a wide variety of formulas that you might not be able to usually try out by just not purchasing the single shadows, if you know what I mean. Because usually like the special shades are like singles, but you can have hollows in the palette and marble shades and duochromes and their ultra pearls and their turbo shades. And their turbo shades are not pressed glitters, okay? So all of these shadows I've shown you are not pressed glitters. And then we have the Caramel palette. I would absolutely purchase this again. It is super cute, nice, neutral palette. There we go, we're in focus. So that concludes the Glam Shop. All right, so for the next offender, this is a good size offender. We have Alien Cosmetics. So first up, we have the Strawberry Shortcake. Strawberry Milkshake, excuse me. So I like this palette, but it is a lot. So I think in retrospect, probably no. I probably would not purchase this palette again. Next up, we have the Bunnies palette. I never even got a chance to play with this palette, and it's actually a really gorgeous palette. So I would say yes, I would purchase this palette again. It is so beautiful. And you know, like the duochromes, like Golden Egg, I gotta put this to use. So probably catch this like in a palette rotation coming up or something. I have the Alien Cosmetics Not Normal palette. And by the way, they are actually rebranding and changing to Unearthly Cosmetics. So if you want to look them up, this is the Not Normal palette. I would absolutely purchase this again. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I have the Low Light palette, and this is by Alien as well. Well, all of these are. And this is what it looks like. I will purchase this again. These are really fun, you know, highlighters. I don't think anybody needs any pans this large, even though they're kind of standard, but I would purchase this again. And then I have the All I Ever Wanted palette. I would definitely purchase this again. I have had so much fun with this palette. Like, oh my goodness, how could you not? I know so many people have purchased this palette off of my recommendation, been looking for it. This is literally like almost everything you ever wanted in life. It is so good. I love it. Next up, we have a few more palettes right here. These are just kind of different brands. So first up, we have It's Freaking Bats. I would definitely purchase this again. Love my It's Freaking Bats. Oh, took forever to get it because, oh my gosh, purchased this palette, what, in 2020? Didn't even get it until 2021. Love it. Definitely will purchase again. I have the ColourPop Lush Life. Oh, I'm missing one color. Hold on one second. Okay. So, got the Lush Life palette. Yes, I would repurchase this. This is a gorgeous palette. And the pops of color are really great. The metallics are really great. This formula was really nice. Really gorgeous palette. I would definitely repurchase this again. Then forgot about my Wild Child palette. This is really gorgeous as well. I would repurchase this palette again. Has some beautiful, just straight up brown tones in here. Really. Next up, I have my Temptalia's and Sydney Grace palette. I only have one, which is On the Horizon, and the formula is beautiful. This was the standout palette to me. I would definitely repurchase this particular palette again. The Pizza Kitty palette, and this is by Sugar Drizzle. This is another one of these beautiful all shimmer palettes that I have been enjoying this year. I would definitely purchase this palette again. The shade that just does it for me, Pew Pew. I love that shade. It's such a beautiful palette. Had a lot of fun with this, so I would definitely repurchase this again. This is the So Mesmerizing palette by Clarity Cosmetics. I actually never got a chance to do anything with this palette on my channel, and when I got it, it was broken. And I don't know, the brand, they were like, send this picture, it's broken, send this picture. I'm like, it's broken, but we can't see these shades together that are broken. I'm like, well, the palette's so long, but they made me do a lot of work. And I would not repurchase this again, but I am going to try to depot those shimmers, because the shimmers are really beautiful. Next up, I have the two palettes that I purchased from Nomad Cosmetics this year. I would definitely keep both of them. So let's start with the Fire and Ice. This is the Iceland palette. This is so unique in my collection. These tones of blues, we got some earthy shades, we have some duochrome shades are here in this row, the warm tones. I love this palette. The packaging is great, the formula is great, everything about it is just wonderful. I would definitely purchase this again. Here, America's Parks by Nomad Cosmetics. I think I always like Nomad Cosmetics. A gorgeous neutral palette with a couple pops of green. I would definitely repurchase this palette again. These shimmers were beautiful. They were really a great joy to work with. It is such a stunning palette. I would definitely repurchase this again. All right, let's keep going. I have right here another small offender, Oden's Eye, but I have enjoyed them truly this year. I have my Erd palette. Love her. Definitely would keep this. Would repurchase this palette again. We also have the Annette's Makeup Corner. This is part of the legendary Diversa collection. This is the Giant Wolves. Absolutely love. We love this palette. Like, are you kidding me? Definitely would repurchase this palette. Next up, we have my girl Tina, the Fancy Face. Definitely would. I mean, honestly, this collection was so bomb. So bomb. Do you see these shades? Amazing. I would definitely repurchase this again. And then we have the Norns Collection. So, yes, absolutely. This palette, like just straight up jewel tone magic. Definitely would repurchase this particular palette again. So I have these three palettes by Adept Cosmetics, and probably by my face you could already tell and heard me talk about them before on my channel. First up, we have Oden. I would absolutely purchase this palette again. It is just so beautiful, so grungy. Like, these shades are just perfection. I would probably change just one or two because, you know, these two shades, the blue shades, they're very close in nature and they kind of pull the same on the eye, but love this palette so much. Definitely would repurchase it. A new favorite. Are you kidding me? Look at this gorgeous red packaging. Amunet Nude, okay? Yes, I would repurchase this palette. The duochromes that you have in here, the sparkle shades, the matte choices. This is the dark version because it has that blue. It is stunning. Stunning. I just don't have anything like this in my collection. It is super, super special to me. And then we also have Ninhydrin. I definitely will repurchase this again. It has one of my favorite gold shades. You see that? You see the dip. You see the dip. So yes, I would repurchase it. Such beautiful color story in this palette. All right, so up next we got Miss Natasha Denona. So first off, we're going to start with the Glam Face palette. So I just kind of just throw it in here last minute. And I was so against this palette in the beginning. I have the little, there we go. There's where you can see the cream blush and then your highlighter and the beautiful shadows down below. I was so against this release in the beginning. I was like, this is so whack. Why would she do this? But I love it. So I would repurchase it again. She made me eat my words. Now this baby right here, no, I'm sorry. I would not repurchase this palette. I do not like this palette at all. I don't. I really don't. And and you know me, y'all. I like the blue side is actually literally the best side. Like, all jokes aside, even though you guys know I love like green and blue shadows and things like that, but no, I just really needed like this shade Sense. I needed it to like come harder. I needed luster to come harder. The two mid-tone mattes, they're just okay. I think eventually I want to do some build your own palettes. So I'm going to keep those shades around, and I don't even know. Maybe I'll find somebody with a better home to give this to, but no, I would not repurchase this again. This one I would repurchase though. This is Natasha Denona Retro. Love this palette. One of my favorites of the year. Beautiful, beautiful color story. Cool tone, a little warm tone at the same time. Even though we have some shade repeats, you see the dip in Apart. One of my favorite shades. Beautiful formula, the cream to matte. It is such just a stunning palette. I would definitely repurchase this again. Next up, we have Circo Loco. I would repurchase this again. This is just so fun. I don't like these orange shades in here. I'm not sure why we have two Hot Cheeto shades and then we have Canon, but I like Canon. But we didn't need these two. But the palette overall is gorgeous. Love the shade Magic and Flip and Acrobat and the fun pops of teal and snow cone and snow cone and airless are just like magical. So yes. So we got a couple more palettes. Next up, we have one of the Rebel palettes by Juvia's Place. Sadly, I have not done anything with this, but I would repurchase this again. You know, I love some green eyeshadows. Beautiful, beautiful quad. I would repurchase this again. And then we also have the Rebel Grays. I would repurchase this again. Have not done anything with it. I really do like gray eyeshadows. So I definitely would purchase this again. Next up, I got my 3 It's Belle Cosmetics palettes, and the first one would be the Flare palette. I have sleeves on all of these. Like, I don't regret that until now. Now I'm like, why do I have these sleeves? But this is freaking gorgeous. I would repurchase this again, even though like I have a lot of the shades in the All I Ever Wanted palette, and I've said that before, but like this shade Rosewater in the middle, because basically everything else I kind of have, but I would repurchase this again. I just being honest. Break the Rules. I would. Like, this is their first palette that actually came out this year, and I would. I love this palette. Such beautiful, beautiful duochromes, like the shades Stay Radical in the middle, Not Listening, Go Rogue. Your choice is bomb. I don't have anything like that in my collection. I would repurchase this again. And then we have Donna Fall. This one is newer to my collection. I just got it in the month of December, and because it was a pre-order, and I definitely would repurchase this again. It has some very deep jeweled duochromes. Unfortunately, like, it is leaking from the shade Boo, but so freaking stunning. I can't wait to play with this. So you'll see something soonish on my channel with this palette, because everybody's just kind of starting to get their palettes. Definitely would play with this. All right, y'all, we're almost through. So next up, I have some palettes here. And first off, we're gonna start with Tammy Tanuka. This is a new brand. So I just got these in December, so they will be coming soon, hopefully before the end of the month of January. But I picked up 3 palettes, and this one is the Mini Chinchilla, and she's gorgeous. Now, she's mini. She does have like mini and regular options. So this is the mini. I appreciate it. Although it is small, but I would definitely repurchase this again. Beautiful color scheme. This is the Snake palette. It's something else, but this is a mini version of it. This palette, y'all, like, whoo, like, oh my God. Do you see that green shade down at the bottom in the corner? Oh my gosh. Definitely would repurchase. And then this is the Toad palette. So this is what their actual regular size looks like. So mini, regular size. And it's actually not bad, but you know, we could take a mini. And I definitely would repurchase this again. It is really beautiful. I have a new brand to me, and I love these palettes so much. First up, we have Silent Night by Glaminatrix Cosmetics. And oh my God. Oh my gosh. The camera is not going to do Baubles justice. That is Baubles right there, where I'm trying to shift it so you can see the duochrome shift. This palette is so beautiful. Definitely would repurchase this again. And then we have the You Beauty palette by Glaminatrix. And I definitely would repurchase this palette again. For sure, for sure. I have one palette by Lethal Cosmetics, and this is the Velvet Dust palette. And this is a really beautiful palette. Definitely need to use it more. And I definitely would repurchase this again. This color story is just, it's so good. So pretty. Next up, we got our mama, our auntie, whatever you want to call her, Dame, Auntie Pat, Miss Patricia. Let's go ahead and jump in. First up, we have the Eternal Eden quad. I don't know where the box is at the moment. She looks like this. No, I would not repurchase this again. No. Now you're probably going to look at it and be like, but Ashleigh, It's really dusty. You've gotten a lot of use out of it. I do. I have. I use this as a blush palette. Before she gave us blushes, I was using this as a blush palette. It's just, it's just not really for me, but I love this shade as a blush. I'm actually wearing it as a blush right now, and I like the way it shows up. So no, I would not repurchase that palette. Next up, we have one of the quads. This is from the Celestial Odyssey Luxe Quad. This is in Deep Space Divinity. So this is the packaging for it from this past Christmas. So happy about that decision. Next up, we have our Venus and Flores Luxe Quad. This is the quad that came out with the blushes. This is the quad in Voyeuristic Vixen. Honey. Yes, ma'am, I would repurchase this again. I would purchase this again because it is literally gorgeous. That dual chrome shade at the top. It is just one of the most beautiful quads I've ever seen. So this one I actually just received in the mail. So you have not seen it yet. And this is the Pat McGrath times Bridgerton. So I would say yes. But I don't know how I like it just yet. I haven't used it, but I think just because it's a collab. And I collect a lot of Pat McGrath palettes, even though there's some I will want more than others, but that's what it is. Next up, we have good old Mothership 9. Utopian Dream, or some people like to call Utopian Scheme. That's funny, Utopian Scheme. Oh boy. This was just not what I thought it was going to be. Uh-oh. But it's actually really pretty. We just had too much of the same thing. You can see that dual chrome shift right there. And it is actually a really pretty palette. So I would repurchase this palette for sure. You see that dual chrome shift. Yes. And then we have our last but not least, our holiday palette from this year. This is the Mothership Mega and Celestial Odyssey. And this is just a bomb. I love this. One of my favorite things that she came out with this year. And whew, absolutely. Definitely would repurchase this. Next up, I have this little palette by MAC Cosmetics. This is the Feast Your Eyes palette. And I like this little palette. I think it's really pretty. So I definitely would repurchase this palette again. It has some beautiful shades in it. And then next up, we have another offender. We have Melt Cosmetics. So this one is the Blueprint palette. Look how fun is the packaging. Oh my gosh, like they killed it. It is really great neutral blue palette. I would repurchase this again. Next up, I have the Smoke Sessions. Now this is not new, but I did actually just pick this up this year. I remember when, don't even have the box open. I remember when this palette launched, and I don't even think they were in Sephora at the time when this palette launched, and everybody kept having, well shit, is this one broken too? Everybody kept having their palette break on them. Oh my gosh. Okay, this palette is highly volatile, okay? So that's why I'm just now purchasing this, and I actually, okay, so it's the Gravity shade. See, this is why I've waited such a long time to purchase this palette. The shade on the end, down, wait, this shade right here is the one that looks like it's, I need to press that in. Yeah, so I would repurchase this. So I actually, when it's sent to me from Sephora, it was actually broken. And I went into Sephora, got a new one. This palette, good grief. It is a highly volatile palette. Still after all these years. She's going to go back in the box. Well, I don't know. This is my second one, and this one kind of broken too. Good grief. And I checked this. These shadows are volatile. I would repurchase it again, but I don't know. It's so volatile. I don't know. I don't need makeup to be that delicate because I'm not even hard on my makeup. Next up, we got Mary Jane, okay? I love the little Mary Jane palette. I definitely would repurchase this palette again. Beautiful color story, just nice and grungy and glam and cool tone at the same time. It's no. Whew. They're shimmers. Next up, I have Amor y Mariposas. I am not the most in love with this palette, to be honest, but I would repurchase this palette again. I would. But it is beautiful. I don't know. I need to give it some more love. Next up, I have a palette by Ace Beauté. And this is the Tropical Vibes palette. And it is just simply stunning. And definitely for you if you love green eyeshadow. So I definitely would repurchase this palette again. Oh, I definitely would repurchase this. This is my Danessa Myrick's palette. Oh my goodness, okay? So I definitely would repurchase this particular palette again. Next up, I have my two Blends Bunny Cosmetics palettes. Let's talk about the Blends first because she was out first. This is the Blends, the OG, and I would repurchase this again. This is gorgeous. It works so well. I've never had a rainbow palette in my collection until this one. This is this grungy sister called Surge. I definitely would repurchase this palette again. I love it so much. Like one of my favorite palettes of the year by far. I definitely will repurchase this. All right, y'all. This is the last little stack of palettes that we have. So I just got these palettes new to my collection, but I purchased them last year, so I'm counting them. These are the Colored Rain palettes, and this is like the Botanical Garden series. So first up, we have Botanical, and it's really pretty. And I would repurchase this again, just off of what I know at the moment. I definitely would. Really pretty. And then we have the palette Rose Garden. Oh, I definitely would repurchase this palette. Again, it's really pretty. And so far, the formula seems nice from what I swatched of it. And then I have my two palettes from Kaleidos. So this one was actually a gift for my birthday from Beauty and the Frizz and Yachty Beauty. And I love it. So I definitely would repurchase this palette again. The packaging is so cool. Or I definitely would want to get this palette again. So I didn't purchase this one, and there was one more I didn't purchase. This one was a gift also, the Venus and Flores Luxe Quad, the Voyeuristic Vixen. So those are two that are gifts that I'm off the hook for, okay? And then we have the Club Nebula to end it off. Honey, for sure. Like, it's no questions asked. Love this palette. One of my favorites for the year. So, whoo. I definitely would repurchase this palette again, for sure. Alright guys, so those are all the palettes that I have collected this year. So, whoo, it is a lot. So, according to my notes, and we'll put a little tally over here in the corner, I had like 65 palettes this year. But then when I checked my list, I realized that two of the palettes I actually talked about last year, which were the Fairy Frolic and the Serendipity palette by Alien Cosmetics, so I pulled them out. So that put us at 63. So technically, I only bought like 61 palettes. But then if you add in the Natasha Denona Face and Glam palette or whatever it's called, we're back at like 62. So somewhere in the 62 mark. So that's literally like, yeah, there's 52 weeks in a year. So it's like a palette a week plus more. So in my defense, I did buy a lot of the Glam Shop as one. So, but whew, it was a lot. And I don't know. I like doing these videos. Like, I try to see if my purchasing habits are going to change, and I try to think that it does, but when I do the tally at the end of the year, it really doesn't. So we will see what happens this year in 22. I am making my lists. I have bought 2 palettes this year. And that's just because Glam Light had a sale, and those 2 palettes were on my wish list, the chocolate martini and the dirty martini. So, but I'm going to try, I don't know. We'll see. It's just a lot. But what I would say is, everything that I've basically bought into my collection this year, I have truly enjoyed. And I think that that part is actually really important. So making sure that you are getting use out of your palettes in some type of capacity. Keep a lookout for my palette rotation videos so you can see these palettes more in action, because it's a lot. It's a lot, but I love eyeshadow. What can I say? So I hope you guys like the video. Let me know that you purchased a few things and you're like, I could have just really just not purchased this. You know, let me know down below in the comments. Give this video a big thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video, which will be very, very soon. And last but not least, subscribe to the channel, because you know I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with all that being said, you already know how we end the videos around these parts. We gotta hit it with the cheddars, cheddars. Hey, 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 cheddars. 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 Bye.